Oke, halo semua yang nonton streaming ini, selamat datang, selamat bergabung. Terima kasih sudah menyempatkan waktu serta berdonasi bandwidth-nya dulu untuk menyaksikan streaming ini. Di sini kita akan membicarakan beberapa isu yang dibagi dalam 4 segmen nantinya. Saya akan bikin dulu introduksi singkat tentang program ini. Program ini merupakan inisiatif dari teman-teman M-Block dan teman-teman kreatif dalam jaringan M-Block yang berpartner dengan Peruri, Kementerian Pendidikan dan Kebudayaan, Telkom Indonesia, MD Media, Mugos, kitabisa.com, Maxstream, UCTV, Omori TV, dan Dasen Technology. Program ini juga merupakan usaha dari teman-teman M-Block untuk mengatasi situasi yang sangat sulit buat kita semua saat ini. Dan teman-teman bisa menyaksikan streaming ini di channel Instagram, live Instagramnya M-Block atau di YouTube channelnya Budaya Saya, Maxstream, Mugos TV, UCTV, serta Omori TV. Kemudian kami juga ingin menyampaikan rasa duka yang sangat-sangat dalam, berita yang sangat mengejutkan untuk kita semua. Bang Glenn Fredly sebagai salah satu dari pendiri M-Block telah tiada kemarin. Berita yang sangat mengejutkan untuk kita semua. Kita bisa mengirimkan doa untuk dia, untuk segala kebaikan yang sudah ia berikan kepada kita semua. Oke, terus seperti yang saya sudah sampaikan di channel promosi saya, bahwa hari ini kita akan berdiskusi, malam ini kita akan berdiskusi dengan teman lama saya yang sudah sekian tahun nggak ketemu dan ketemunya sekarang di live streaming. Ada Mas David, kita bisa panggil Mas David. Dan Mas David sebenarnya bisa bahasa Indonesia dengan baik, cuman nggak pede. Ditemani oleh Mbak Sonia. Kemudian saya pikir David dan Sonia nanti bisa mengenalkan dirinya, latar belakangnya. Dan diskusi ini karena Mas David tidak pede untuk berbahasa Indonesia dan Mbak Sonia belum bisa berbahasa Indonesia, maka kita akan lakukan dalam bahasa Inggris. Nanti kalau ada perlu hal-hal yang menurut saya perlu diperjelas, saya akan jelaskan dalam bahasa Indonesia atau dalam bahasa Banyumasan, sesuai janji saya. So, saya akan mulai program ini dengan membaca doa dalam bahasa Jawa. Dan Mas David pasti nggak ngerti bahasa Jawa, tapi nggak apa-apa. Saya akan bacakan doanya. Culingkam, culingkam, tunggak papak kalamingkem. Kembingkem, saking kersane Gusti Allah. Wong kepingin melaku utoyo, belayu, selamat kala yo selamat. Sedulur satu guru, satu ilmu, ojo ganggu. Ya, dengan begitu maka acara ini resmi kita mulai. Ya, so David and Sonia, thank you to spend time to join with us. So let's start with a brief introduction about you. Maybe we can start from Sonia.
Okay, so nice to be here with you. Thank you very much. You are doing the introduction, or you want me to introduce me?
I want you to introduce yourself first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's now 12 years that I'm working in a small company in France. This is a cooperative company. We are 11 inside, but not everybody working day to day at the office. We are 4 at the office, and we are doing some administration, production, and sales of concerts in France and abroad also. Mm-hmm. Dealing with, let's say, 25 artists per year and 200 events by year also.
Mm-hmm. What's the name of the company?
The company is Cross Media Culture.
Okay. And your position in this company as?
As a co-director.
Okay, as the co-director of the company. Yeah. Okay, thank you. And then what about you, David?
I'm As you know, Dimas, I used to work in Indonesia twice. First time, it was a long time ago now. It was just after my university studies. It was from 96 to 98 in Bandung at the French Cultural Center. And that was my first work experience in this French network abroad. And then I came back to Paris. I used to work a long time in Paris at the what is called now the French Institute, which is the structure under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to promote French artists abroad, and working shortly with all French institutes in the world, like IFI in Indonesia.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the place where I met Sonia a long time ago. We used to work together.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, I used to work in 3 countries as a cultural attaché of the French embassy or director of the French Institute. The first time was in Warsaw from 2006 to 2009, then in Jakarta with you from 2010 to 14, and more recently, and I just came back from Japan from 2016 to 19 in Fukuoka, the south of Japan, the head city of the island of Kyushu.
Okay. Okay. So thank you for the introduction, and I also introduce myself to the audience. Nama saya Dimas Jayasrana. Saya pernah bekerja bareng Mas David di IFI Jakarta sebagai wakil watase, wakilnya Mas David. Itu antara bekerja dan bermain-main dengan Mas David dan bermalas-malasan tentunya. Kalau malas tentu saya sendiri. Kemudian di tahun 2016 saya beserta 3 co-founder saya, Mas Ginanjar dan Mas Esa, kami mendirikan perusahaan kecil bernama Spectacle.id, yang perusahaan ini fokus pada pengembangan bisnis seni budaya di Indonesia. So that's our brief introduction to the audience, so we can start the conversation. So I think it can be also relaxed and quite informal conversation between us with a little bit structure, so we don't lose on the track. So I think everyone in Indonesia also wants to hear a story about the recent situation in France. I mean, yes, we read news, but since each of us are really also occupied by our own local domestic problems, then we only hear a bit what happened in Taiwan, for example, what happened in some countries in the Europe, a lot of info about what happened in America. So maybe you can tell us about the recent situation in France.
The situation in Europe is quite terrible now. I guess that I don't know exactly what you have heard in Indonesia about the situation in Europe, but
not much.
It's not especially France. It's everywhere for sure. The situation in Italy and Spain is really dramatic. The situation in France is, let's say, medium terrible.
Oh my God. Yeah, okay. We get the idea.
The situation in UK is starting to be terrible. Mm-hmm. They believe, I don't know why, but they used to believe that it will be okay for them, like USA. Now they see that it will not be okay at all. And the situation in some countries like Germany and Scandinavian countries it's not terrible. It's a heavy situation for sure, but it's not terrible as it is in the south of Europe is experience a very, very incredible situation. So in France, so we are experiencing a total lockdown now since mid-March. It has been announced first for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So, it was supposed to end on the 31st of March, but it has been prolongated for 2 more weeks until mid-April. And we already know that it will be prolongated again.
Yeah.
We guess for 2 more weeks until the end of April, but we don't know yet. And our president, Mr. Macron, will be on all television channels on Monday evening to inform about the new decisions and the new duration of the lockdown.
Okay.
So it has been 2 weeks and then 2 more weeks, and we know that it will be at least 2 more weeks, and maybe so on and so on. We cannot have any idea about when it will stop. And after that, there will be many practical questions which have no answer yet about how to relieve the lockdown, how to break it, what will be possible after that and not. And all these questions, there is no answer yet.
Okay, how the mitigation process so far? I mean, the lockdown decision is an official decision from the state, right?
Yes, it's official. In France, we have a how to say, in Italy or it's not a central state. There is a central state, but all the regions in Germany too. All the regions have very very strong local authorities, and for this kind of matters, they can decide about the lockdown. In France, it's national decision.
Okay.
For example, in Germany, some parts of Germany, there is the lockdown, and most of the other parts, there is not. In France, it's for everybody.
Okay. So how the mitigation process so far?
Sorry? We suppose that around 10% of the French population is infected by coronavirus.
10%.
It's a supposition. It's
yeah.
We don't know exactly for sure because there is a huge lack of tests, which is one of the major problems in France and in Europe. Two very heavy problems in Europe, including France, is the lack of tests and the lack of masks.
Yeah.
So that's also why we had to take this extreme decision to lock down. It was the only possible way to fight against the virus.
Okay. And Sonia, do you think so far the process of this lockdown is effective? I mean, by any meaning? I mean, people follow the advice.
Most of the people, yes. You know, first of all, everything is closed except the supermarket, something and the pharmacy. But we have nothing to do outside, and there is a lot of control. Police and also army that control if you go out, for what and when. We are supposed to, each time we go out, we have one here.
It's just one page, a printed page, but that's the paper we have to wear every time we go out.
You fill in the paper.
Every time we need a paper, and we have to justify why we are out, why we are in the street.
And we have to notice in this document also at which time we went out, because we just have 1 hour. I mean, if I decide to go out to the supermarket at 15, I have to come back to my home at 16.
Okay, yeah. So they limit your duration outside for 1 hour. Yeah. Okay.
But for us, we have the chance to escape Paris before the lockout. Sorry. And now we have a garden here, so it is quite sympathetic.
Yeah. So is the situation still conducive so far? I mean, in the sense that people doesn't really like throwing the anger or, you know, like kind of throwing the frustration.
Yesterday, I read I read a paper because it was just in front of the house of my friend in Paris. Yesterday, one of the neighbor of family tried to, how to say, well, police has to come because he wear a gun. It was not a real gun, but he said that the children are too noisy. I will shoot you with the
okay.
So some of people begin to be quite silly.
But it's really a crazy situation to an entire country. All the population, which is in France, is 60 million people locked at home. It's totally insane when you think about it. It's impossible to. In theory, okay, we understand that it's a normal decision, that we have to do it, and we do it, and it has already some positive effects. We see that the new diseased people coming to the emergency units in French hospitals is decreasing a little now after 3 weeks of lockdown. So it's working, and the French population is quite okay with this decision.
Yeah.
But it's impossible to understand what is this situation before experiencing it. It's crazy. 60 million people locked at home. It's totally insane.
Not really compared to, speaking about the numbers, not really compared to us in Indonesia. I mean, 60 to 160. Yeah. you are kind of amateur, and you have to imagine like Indonesian people. I mean, you lock down Indonesian people. That's quite impossible.
But it is impossible, and it's not the case. It's not the case until now in Indonesia. It will be maybe harder and harder in the next weeks.
Yeah.
I guess it will be. Sorry, but no. In France, it's in mid-March. In 3 or 4 days, first there was the decision to close the schools. 2 days after, all the restaurants, bars, and so on were closed.
Wait, that also enforced by law.
Yeah.
Sure.
Not just like advice. It's like enforced.
No. Totally locked by law and secured by police. No. And 2 days after, lockdown. You stay at home.
Okay, that's mid-March, yeah?
Mid-March, yes.
So it means then, since that all the business-wise activities also like making the decision like, okay, we cannot do anything about it. So I jump to the second segment of our discussion in this case, like every single type of business, of course, affected by the situation. So it means then since March for you, Sonia, that all the projects that your company prepared, it's totally like crushed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. So first of all, at the beginning of March, the government said we don't want to have any event more than 5,000 people. That was a lot, and I'm not concerned by it because the concert and the theater plays that we present are much more for 500 people, the audience. Okay. And but at that time we already know, okay, it will be worse. So after they said 1,000 people, and then 500, and then nothing.
Yeah.
100.
So yes, 100, and then nothing. So we had few days, let's say 1 week, to understand that everything will be cancelled. So now everything is cancelled, and for me, for our company, it's about 100 events cancelled from mid-March to June, end of June. We said end of June because we have no visibility, no idea when it can happen, when we can go out of our home, when the restaurant will open, when the concert hall will open. It's maybe in September, or I don't know. I really don't know. But for now, we are working on end of March, April, May, and June, and say everything is cancelled. But we already seen that some big festivals have already cancelled for July or August. So maybe it will continue to be cancelled. And so for us, it's just like undo all the work that we did for months and months. And it's, of course, very difficult. There's also that we have a lot of artists that have no work, and for now we are trying to deal with first administration, a lot of papers to explain that it's cancelled, why it's cancelled. We try also to negotiate with the concert hall and theater venue to postpone the representation. That means that, for instance, some of the representation that we were supposed to have in April or May are already we are in negotiation already to postpone them in 2021, 21st. Okay. Then the second part of our work is, when it's impossible to postpone, to try to get at least part of the sale that we originally confirmed. So this kind of little amount of money help to pay the artist, at least a little.
What do you mean with pay?
Sorry?
What do you mean with pay?
I mean that there are employees for us, or my company. So I'm responsible for them, and I try to do so that it will be the less difficult for them, because some of them are suddenly having no work, and so earn no money for, they don't know, March, April, May, and so on, you know. So we try to get a little bit of the sales that we dealt before this situation to pay them, because they were unpaid. And then, but I think David can explain also, we try to deal with one of the legislation of our government, which is called partial unemployment. So we have some kind of
or regional.
It's national, and for all kind of activities, not only culture.
Sure. Okay.
Including culture, for sure. And Sonia is now working a lot of that, not to lose everything. So there is an emergency economic system settled by the government in order that French people don't lose their job.
Okay.
So because there is almost no economic activity in France now, except for supermarkets and transportation of goods.
Is this body under one specific ministry or directly to the president's
Ministry of Work?
Okay.
And so the system is that if a company had to stop or to reduce its activity because of coronavirus, and for sure most of them, yes, they can go on to pay the salary of their employees. They pay only 70% of the salary.
Okay.
And this amount will be reimbursed by the state to the company. And on this salary, there is no... in France, we have a very complicated sum of tax. I will not go further in details about that.
Yeah.
The largest part of the tax, usually due when there is a salary, is off because of this situation. So no tax on this salary, 70% paid by the employer to the employee, and this amount reimbursed by the state to the employer, up to 4,500 euros maximum per month for one.
Can you repeat? Up to
the maximum amount is 4,500 euros.
That's for the salary.
That's for the salary, because, for example,
right?
for sure, the state will not pay the whole salary for Mbappe and Neymar.
Okay, true that. So
no,
wait.
I'm joking about that. But for example, all football clubs in France, including PSG, are now inside this system of aid by the state.
Because the footballers are employees.
The footballers, the football players, are
paid by your tax then.
Are employees like Sonia and me.
Oh my.
They are not paid at the same level for sure, but they are employees. They have a French employer.
Okay, so
and all the clubs can apply to get this aid from the government, and they do.
I mean, if it's the club, at least from the second division, I can understand. But if it's PSG, I mean,
if it's PSG, okay, it's.
I know it's your club, David, but it doesn't mean you can justify
that. Other clubs, only PSG can bear this kind of situation. All the other, even the second of the first division, will die if there is not this system.
Okay, so before we continue, I think I also have to explain to the audience in Bahasa Indonesia about what we discuss. Jadi di Perancis mereka saat ini mulai.
Maaf, Mas. Sebelum just one more thing to have an idea about the number of people involved in this system that you will about. As I said, in France there are 60 million people. What we call the active population, it means the number of people who are in age to work.
Yes.
It's the half. It's 30 million people.
Okay.
On these 30 million people, 27 million are working and 3 million people are unemployed.
Okay.
So until now, this new system I was talking about since the beginning of coronavirus crisis, it's already 7 million people involved in this new system.
7 million people paid by 7
million. Yeah. So 25% of the French employees are already inside this system, and this number is increasing every day for sure. Every day, the Ministry of Work receive new application from companies, very small one like Sonia, or very big one like PSG. But all French companies are now applying to this system, and we know that it has already cost, the cost for the state is already 20 billion euros.
20 billion euro?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Wow, okay. So I think I have to explain it in Bahasa Indonesia just to strengthen the context. Jadi di Perancis saat sejak lockdown berlaku, ada sebuah lembaga di bawah Kementerian Tenaga Kerja, David, ya, yang kemudian untuk situasi darurat ini, yang kemudian menangani perihal tenaga kerja dan perusahaan, di mana perusahaan-perusahaan ini mendaftar ke lembaga ini untuk mendapatkan bantuan dari negara, di mana kemudian contohnya sebuah perusahaan membayar gaji pegawainya yang kemudian bisa di-reimburse melalui lembaga ini, tetapi gaji yang di-reimburse itu hanya bisa 70% dan nilai maksimalnya 4 euro. 4.500 euro itu nilai maksimum. 70% atau maksimum 4.500 euro. Dan ini berlaku untuk semua perusahaan Perancis, dari yang paling kecil sampai perusahaan sebesar klub bola PSG. Seperti itu deh, David ya?
Ya, betul.
Okay. So, before we continue that, I think we also have to talk about one specific things belongs to you in France regarding profession and being a professional. So, can you explain to our audience a brief explanation about what is an association or a collective in France? What is the law standing for that? How does it work? Yeah, maybe Sonia can start.
The association in France, it's a very precise juridic status since 1901.
1901.
Yes, not only in the field of culture, it can be in the field of social care and so on. The basic rule is that is non-profit organization.
Okay.
You have to the amount of expense is the same with the amount of incomes. That's the basic rule.
Yeah.
Okay, so indeed, in the cultural field, most of the artists, because they can apply to public subsidies only if they are working inside this kind of structures called association, the non-profit association. They want to create this kind of structure. That means that, for instance, we are working with some musicians of Baroque music. We are working with theater. We are working with circus company. All of them, to create their own artistic project, needs to be structured on association. Okay.
Okay.
So there's almost no private company, benefit company in culture fields in France, because of this huge and very strong public subsidies.
Okay.
And also this kind of non-profit organization, so association, they are allowed since 2003 to benefit from a kind of sponsorship. And only this kind of association. No company, for instance, my company, which is a company, a cooperative company, but a company, I cannot benefit from subsidies and also from this kind of sponsorship. Association, yes. That's why we are, in my company, employed by association to deal with the subsidies question and also after with the employment questions, okay? So that means this association are the employers of all the artists and technicians in the cultural field in France.
Okay, so the association itself, is it also divided to the type of association for the professional individual and also like compilation of groups? You know, like if I'm a lighting technician, then I have an association for my profession.
No, you are light technicians and you will be part of one or many associations. That means that the association of my Baroque musician will need your work, your technician work, and they will employ you. My circus company will need a technician, they will employ you also.
Okay, so it means I'm as individual, then I'm registered.
As individual, you are not registered as an association. You are registered as an employee.
As employee of the association?
Yeah.
Okay. It means the state has my data.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Anyway, the state has your data.
Okay.
In France, it's really different with Indonesia. Anyway, for many good and bad reasons, both. Yes, the state has your data.
Okay. So
our technicians, we are each month when we employ them, when an association employ them, each month, of course, we are doing a salary sheet. Yeah. And on that salary, we have the number of the employee, the number of the performance he's working on, and so on and so on.
It means also my data is also a legal basis of my being as the professional, right?
Sure.
Yes.
I mean, it cannot be just anybody just registered as a technician. It means I have to, how to say, a certificate?
Not so, because I can decide as an association that you will be my technician, even if you are, I don't know, a footballer. Nobody will tell nothing. My performance will be terrible, but...
But it can work like that.
But it can work like that, yeah.
Okay. So the reason why I'm asking that, so I'm jump to the second question then. So regarding the situation now, what is the role of the association? I mean, in the dynamic between them, the association, are they doing the advocacy for the whole members?
No, there's no advocacy. No, not for now. Maybe it will be, but not for now. Many of associations are represented by union, like trade union.
The union, the worker union.
Yeah, like the union for baroque music, the union for contemporary music, the union for theater plays, the union for outdoors, and so on and so on. And now what is going on is that the unions come back to all the associations and send a lot of information and ask for a lot of data, saying what happens with you, with your association, how many performance canceled, how many employee unemployed, and so on. And
can I cut you there? Sorry. Can I cut? I cut you. Because this is interesting point. So you said that the how many show that canceled, how many employee, and so on. So it's all justified by valid data. I mean, I can make up like, oh, I have 300 show canceled, and
at least now it's just declarative. But we know that it will be control. What happens for the beginning of the crisis? They said the union and the Ministry of Culture said you have to prove by contract. So contract already signed. Yeah. But finally, because it's extending in time, of course, we have not signed all the contract until June or September, or I don't know, you know. So they said also, if you have a proof, like we exchanged an email saying on 25 of June, I want you to work on this show.
Yeah.
This will be a proof also.
Yeah, the communication by email, for example, can be a valid proof.
Yeah.
Usually it's not like that. Usually you need to give the signed contract, but because of the emergency, because of this crazy situation, they are very okay now. And when you apply for this new aid system, for this new subsidies system, the government has 2 days to say yes or no. If they don't reply in 2 days, it's automatically yes.
Okay.
And after that, for sure, they will control. And it's very easy to control. It will be very long. It will be a huge work, but it's very easy to control.
So it means at your side to, how to say, to mapping the number of the people who work in the art and culture or creative industry, and the number of the potential project, let's say the potential project, can be relatively easily identified.
Yes, it can easily. Sorry, because the web was so. Yeah. Yes, it is easily identifying. Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you have approximate numbers of how many?
Good question.
You mean in France, how many culture events have been cancelled?
The worker.
I don't really know. I don't really know. Actually, I have to. I think that the last study on this question is from 2012, so it's a long time ago.
Long, yeah.
And I think I remember it was 800,000.
800,000 in 2012.
In 2012.
Let's say 2 million now.
Maybe.
Not
so, but 1 million, 1 million point two, something like that.
Oh, 1 million point two. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's say approximately there are 1.2 million people who are working on the art and culture field, facing the situation with the great numbers of events that cancelled. I mean, speaking of numbers of events, we know like in France there are like really many festivals and I mean big and smalls for the whole year. So I'm scared to ask you the number, but what is the number then?
I don't know. Really, for now, I don't know. I have no idea. I can just say that we, little company, have already 100, you know. So you can imagine how many we are and how many events it could be.
So yeah, a small company like you handling 100 events, quite scary then. Yes.
And as Sonia said at the beginning, now we are already sure that everything will be cancelled until the end of June. After that, we don't know at all. And now the pending question is the very, because as you know, we have a lot of summer festivals in France. And the pending question, and what about these festivals? And the first ones start to cancel now, but it will be in the following weeks now, what they will do, because we have no clue about the end of this lockdown. We have no clue about the date, because for sure, the only thing which is sure is that the lockdown for people like us will end before the reopening of the venues, of the restaurants, of the bars. It will not be the same date.
Yeah.
So we hope that the lockdown will end in May. Maybe it will be later. We don't know. But for sure, the cancellation of the culture events, the closing of the restaurants and bars and most of the shops and so on, it will end at least until the end of June. And for summertime, we don't know yet.
Okay. Do you think there is a kind of a good dynamic so far between the association and the union with the government? I mean,
union were very reactive. It was perfect. They are dealing, of course, with the government and the Ministry of Culture, especially. Ministry of Culture reacts quite well, and especially at the Ministry of Culture in the region, because there is a central Ministry of Culture, and on the region there are also some representatives of the ministry, and they react well because they ask to the central government to authorize this unemployment system for the artists, which was not the case before. Then they ask also, there is a lot of venues in France who are who works with public subsidies, like a theaters, place, or like concert venue, a concert hall, and the ministry asked to all these venues who receive public money to pay for the event cancelled. So so they help also the association. And the thing with the government is that we have, they take quite a good resolution, but very late. So, for example, at the end of March, of course, I have to say to my employee what I will do with them. Will be fired, will be paid or not, how much, and so on. And I get the information only at the beginning of April. And for now, I've not all the information I need still. So it's very long process, but good communication and good decisions.
But at least you feel that the union really represents the needs of the
Sure, towards the governments, but also towards the sponsors, because some of them, well, they react very differently. Some of them say that it's cancelled, and some of them say cancelled, but we will pay, of course. And the union tried to explain and really reinforce the position of the associations to get a little bit of the money that they need, not to die, not to bankrupt.
Yes. So before we go to the next question, I have to announce to the audience, teman-teman, mengingatkan kembali acara ini merupakan kerjasama antara M-Block dengan para partner kreatifnya, entrepreneur dari Peruri, Kemendikbud, Telkom Indonesia, MD Media, Mugos, kitabisa.com, Maxstream, UCTV, Omori TV, dan Dasen Teknologi. Acara ini juga bermaksud juga untuk mengumpulkan donasi buat yang akan nanti diserahkan totally untuk donasi, yang dimana dari kabar yang saya terima per April 6 sudah terkumpul 7,6 juta rupiah, 7.682.376 rupiah tepatnya, yang keseluruhan hasilnya akan didonasikan, baik itu untuk para pekerja kreatif yang membutuhkan, serta juga untuk tim medis kita yang di lapangan yang sedang berjuang saat ini. Juga tadi di awal kami sudah menyampaikan di diskusi ini bila kami sangat turut berduka untuk wafatnya Glenn Fredly, salah satu pendiri dari M-Block, yang sangat aktif dengan kegiatannya, dan tentu itu adalah berita yang sangat mengejutkan untuk kita semua. So we continue to the next segment, but also before that, I have to show you something, David. This is special for you. So this is the bottle. This is Zubrovka. But I promise you, what's inside is not Zubrovka. Yeah, it's a sad. So this is containing Ciu. Ciu is a traditional local alcohol, famously from Klaten and Banyumas, Central Java. If it's coming from Klaten, it's coming from the tebu, sugarcane, but this one coming from cassava, the fermentation of cassava. So I have to be honest that I also drink during the
It's too early for us. Still the afternoon.
Oh yeah. What time is it now?
There. It's 10 to 4.
Sorry, 10 to 4. Sorry. Yes. Okay. So then, for sure, it's uncertain situation for all of us. But do you think there is a kind of future prediction, or even a kind of pragmatic action from the creative industry, art and culture industry in France regarding the situation?
What I can say, most of the association now are still totally stunned by the situation, but a lot of artists continue to work, of course, remotely, and a lot of them share on social network, on Instagram and so on. So they share mini concerts, dance studios, and so on. So the audience is still with them. We put also for our company a lot of recordings of the show,
and also live streaming.
Online on streaming, yes. And there is a new platform launched by the Ministry of Culture, which is called Culture chez nous, Culture at Home.
Mm-hmm.
And this new platform is collecting from everywhere and everybody, every artist, what they want to put online. Some of the theaters, also concert venue, decided to let the artist play and broadcast it, so audience can see it. Mm-hmm. Or I've seen that one film festival also realized the festival, quiet the entire festival online. So no audience in the rooms, but online.
I think like Oberhausen in German.
Sorry?
Oberhausen in German, the festival of Oberhausen also do that.
Yeah, but for my part, because I'm working in theater and concert, I cannot imagine that everything will be online. You know, we need the audience, of course. So it's waiting for the next week, waiting for reopening, but it cannot be definitively like that. Some of cinema are very stressed because they think that maybe people will be so used to see the film at home that they won't go back after.
Come back, yeah, to the But is there any talk so far about what are we going to do after this? You know, like how to reset the activity?
No, not for now.
It will depend on the date. If the activity is possible to starting again this summer, it will be more or less, it will be okay. If the activity is still off during summertime and it will start again only in September or October, it will be very, very difficult.
We are not sure. My company, we are not sure to survive.
Mm-hmm. So if for you, even you are not, you don't know yet what it could be for your company after this.
Not at all. Not at all.
As you know, the French public system to promote and culture in France is very strong.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very close to total collapse now because of this crisis.
I guess for everyone then.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, so I will announce to the audience, our audience, if they want to ask something during this conversation. Buat teman-teman yang punya pertanyaan buat David dan Sonia, silahkan bertanya melalui channel yang teman-teman tonton. Ada tim yang kemudian akan menyampaikan kepada kami. Bebas, silahkan bertanya tentang apapun untuk Sonia serta David. Okay, so yes, let's talk a bit about us, you know, as parents. So I mean, imagine parents lockdown with the child. It's a challenging.
It's more than challenging.
It's more than challenging.
I told you at the beginning, we had the very big chance to spend the lockdown outside Paris.
Mm-hmm.
We are now in a very small village in the center of France, in the middle of nowhere. We're in a big house with a big garden, so it's okay because of that.
Yeah.
To stay in our apartment in Paris with a 7-year-old child during weeks and weeks locked, it's you are sure to become crazy.
This is a parent's voice, yeah. I could agree with you. Anyway, so then as parents, do you have a special strategy you can share to our audience about how to to manage that?
The first strategy was to escape from Paris. The second strategy, it's not really from our side, but what you maybe we have to explain is that for sure the schools are closed. but the program is still running now. And every day we receive by email from the teacher the program that we have to teach
follow
the day after.
Yeah.
So it's not only little homework. Our son is SD2.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not so for sure. In normal life, there is a little homework to do every day or during school holidays, and this is quite light. Now, what I am talking about is really the program itself when the school is running.
Okay.
So David became a teacher.
I have a new job thanks to coronavirus. I became a teacher. So Sonia is starting to save the culture, and I am trying to save the sun. So that's the deal.
Yeah.
I don't know if we will succeed, but
I share the same concern with you.
I became a teacher, and around the last 3 weeks, just now, this week and next week, anyway, it's school spring holiday, so there is no
homework. Yeah.
Yes, but the 3 weeks before, the first 3 weeks of lockdown, every day I was teaching to my son around 3 or 4 hours per day, and really experiencing a new job for me, a teacher. No, not only a father doing homework with his son, really a teacher,
private teacher.
I'm also has to handle some like, let's say, assignment from my son's school, and when he gave me the math assignment, I look at the paper. I was just like, oh my God, what did I do in my life? I mean, is there any changing that I don't realize that I think math in my era was not as complicated as now, like, oh my God. It's a living proof that I'm totally stupid actually with math, but then Google saved our ass.
No, but my chance is my son is 7 years old. So it's still okay, even for the math.
Yeah, when you're facing the assignment of math for 10 years old, it's like a university assignment, like. Oh my God. But I also read some articles about some rising of the business actually during the Corona pandemic. One of it is the selling of the ebook. There are some data showing the purchasing of the ebook through, let's say, Amazon or Google Books or something like that is having a quite significant rising of the percentage. And one of the most bought book online is a children book. So then it's also showing the number of parents who
trying to read again with
help from the book. You need help. Who needs help from the book and bought it online. So do you think it also happens in France?
Yes. Yes, we have the biggest change, I think, in France is on TV, because all the channels changed their broadcast. I mean, all the channels changed their broadcast on TV. So, for instance, one of the biggest channel now only have education program, and for 7 years old, for 12 years old, and so on, all the day long. It's crazy, and everything changed on the TV.
Is it decided by them independently, or the government asks the TV channel?
I think that they ask, but it's also a private decision from the film. It was not a law.
Okay.
And of course, a lot of internet websites propose a lot of programs for the child, either classes, either games, educative games, and so on. We of course have also books online, and a lot of, but I think it's the same for you. For example, our child is doing battery music outside the school, and he's also doing circus activities, and his teachers send us also on Instagram classes for battery, classes for circus at home. So the activities he does outside the school, normally he does it at home with the same teachers, but with internet.
Okay. So I'm
hopefully don't
for the I mean, getting a true data in Indonesia, it's a total challenge, you know, for many cases, especially for the book selling and things like that. So then it occurred to me that Indonesia actually lack of books for children. When I said lack of, it's not like I'm saying there is no book for children in the bookstore. There are books for children, and I often visit the bookstore, the main chain of the bookstore. I will not say name the brand because it's online watched by everyone, but most of the books are really feels like a copy paste of the story coming from decades ago, and then just repackage into a new cover, but nothing changed on the story, nothing new on the approach, and you know, it's not fresh. I think it's not following the paradigm of children of today, because they are more aware of what happened in the world thanks to the technology. So how is it in France? How this kind of content of stories, like folklore stories, you know, like stories coming from centuries ago, delivered to the children?
We have plenty of it. And the big edition house of edition who take care of the company who deals with editing books for the child. Sometimes they ask for contemporary authors to rewrite the story. So stories from 1 century ago, it exists, of course. It exists with new illustration, and it exists also with rewriting work on it.
Sorry, we have a question here from Febri Sari Andini. I think you can also read on the chat, on the Zoom. You both have explained about the platform made by the government for the artists to perform there. Do you get paid from it, or do people have to pay for the performance, or maybe like a subscription? How does it work?
It's totally free.
We can answer February question now.
Thanks for your question. The answer is it's totally free. There is no rights, no salary, no nothing. This is totally free.
Nobody pay for it.
Nobody paid.
So it's free for the artist to do the performance, and also it's free for the public to watch.
Yeah.
Yes.
So then my question regarding that, what makes everyone agree with that?
That's a good question, and good question for the future, because if we do it free now, how will we make it not free again? We agree because we are locked inside our home, and we have no. Most of people have only the computer or the smartphone sorry, we have lack of battery on our computer. Okay, we saved the computer. Most of people are locked at home, and so the only things they can do, except reading or dancing or I don't know, singing, it's to watch the shows on the website. And the artists have nothing to do neither. And so they accept to do it for free, because it's also for them very important to keep the contact with the public, with the audience.
Okay, so there is there are second and third question regarding that.
Yeah.
what platform are you using for this? And then how would you handle security? I don't really understand about the security. Maybe about the intellectual property in this case. I'm not really sure. But what is the platform? Is it a website or a YouTube channel that?
No, it's a website from the government.
Okay, it's a special
culture
website.
It's culture.gouv, G-O-U-V.
For government.
For government.
Can you maybe write it, David, and then showing on the camera? I think that's more.
Bah oui, mais sans moi le site. Yeah. Sure.
So it means that, for example, an artist or a group or then in contact with the government, and then they create the schedule to perform.
Sorry, I'm waiting, so I didn't listen at all. So, can you see?
Oh, okay. Stay for 5 seconds. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think everyone got it. Okay, I couldn't capture it anyway.
That's it.
So
yes.
This is the website of the French Ministry of Culture, and now on the main on the homepage is this new online program named Culture at Home.
So the website already existing before.
Yeah,
No.
sure. It's
the website, yes, but the page, no.
The page is new, dedicated for this.
Yeah. And so actually, you have to send to this platform the information, the shows that you want to have on it, and the ministry put it online.
Okay.
And concerning the security, I don't know if it's about the copyright and so on. No problem with, because it's free, so no question about it.
Okay. It means, for example, I also can relay that to, let's say, my YouTube channel, for example. I mean, anyone can relay the.
Yeah, sure.
If it's possible, I mean, from the platform.
Yes, yeah.
But sorry, I'm not sure. I am checking now, but I guess it's only in French.
Yeah.
In French language.
But David, people in Indonesia can also speak French.
Silakan.
You made them so for 4 years. And after that, we don't speak French anymore. When you left Indonesia, we forget about it. So yes, then come back to the talk about the children books, children's story. It's really interesting when you said that sometimes the publisher commission to the contemporary writer to rewrite the old stories coming from the centuries and publish it. Is it that it's a common method, common works in France?
Yes, it is.
And then is it then also easily found the transformation from the text to comics, for example, and animation for that?
This I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Comics, no. Animation, of course.
Okay,
and the contrary also. Animation become books.
Okay.
Yeah.
And regarding the books itself, if I'm not make a mistake, French government also giving a lot of subsidies to make the price lower.
Yeah.
For public. And it's obliged by the law, or I mean, do you have a certain like rules that you cannot sell that expensive, or?
There is the first rule is that the amount, the percentage of the government tax on the books for the books is lower than for other goods. If you buy a blue jean, the tax is 20%.
Okay.
If you buy a book, the tax is 5.5%.
5.5%, the tax for books.
Or 2.1, no? Depends.
And it can be lower as well, so in some case. So the tax is not the same. To maintain, to lower the price of the books in France.
Is it then also a common practice in France to read the children book to the child? I mean, not only in school.
Yeah, sure.
Sure, it is. And it's true that we have the chance to have a very rich and diverse choice of books for children in France. Comics and not comics, we have a lot and very high level one.
When you mean a lot, then the story itself not only coming from France or Europe, but also like coming from all over the world, translated to France.
Yes,
Sure.
all over the world.
Ah,
What is produced in France is very big in quality and in volume, and secondly, yes, we translate from all over the world, a lot.
okay. I recently studied again about Japanese comic, especially the popular one. I don't know if you know the title, like One Piece, and sort of like that. And apparently that this kind of comic also taking a little part or some part of a traditional story, a Japanese traditional story, and then they transform it into a new realm on their comics. But it's really taking the DNA of their original traditional story. Is it also happen there in France? I mean, not only to comics, but also to performance, for example. This kind of process.
Sorry, we didn't. We both of us.
We are not sure to understand the question.
The question is it also happen in France that artists, performance artists, for example, or comic artists, they taking a traditional story and then transform it into new form, like a performance and comics, for example. Not necessarily the whole of the story, but just like the DNA.
Sure. No, maybe not as often as it is in Japan.
Okay.
Maybe not as often, but yeah, sure, it can be like that.
A lot of books become, of course, a cinema story. Recently, in October, when the culture was working in France, we did a new performance from a book, also a book from last century, and so on. So yes, there's this kind of process, of course.
Oh, we have
Yes, sorry, I was reading the question.
Yeah. I think it's not a question; it's like a statement from Febri. But I have to read it for our audience. So Febri said, "That's my point. It's a good way government can contribute to the people who are thirsty for arts during this pandemic, but it's not a long-term solution, right?"
Yes, it's not a long-term solution.
Let's say it's supposed not to be a long-term solution.
Otherwise, we have to maybe it will, because I think a lot of things will change after that, and for sure it will be interesting to keep this kind of platform. But we have to all together have a reflection on how to pay the artist for that. So everybody can still access the culture on the website, but maybe pay a little. Same question as the music field, you know.
Yeah. But then, do you think the private sector can also, how to say, react on this? I mean, now it's a government website.
Yeah.
Do you think that maybe next month there will be a private website?
I think Google can do that very well.
And yes, Google Arts is based in Paris, right?
Sorry, Google what?
Art. Google Culture or Google Arts, what they call it. The specific division of Google that taking care of arts and culture.
I don't know this Google.
So yes, there is this one specific division of Google.
Yeah.
Taking care of art and culture, and the headquarter is in Paris.
Okay, I didn't know. I will search on that.
You contact them after this.
We are French. We cannot trust that Google can deal in arts and culture.
Okay. So
Is it a long-term solution?
I think it's a long-term solution, but in the next 25 years, your art and culture manuscript will be belongs to them.
Or maybe it's a long-term dissolution.
So then, I guess then nowadays in France, there are plenty creative streaming activities like concerts in the house or in the studio and streaming for free for people, right?
Yeah.
And there is one funny, maybe it's everywhere in the world like that, but I don't remember which French orchestra, very famous and big classical music orchestra, who has still his program running online with every musician playing alone at home. And they are on Zoom like us.
Oh, okay. Each
They are
musician on their own house.
Yes.
Playing together.
So 100 musicians
Playing together.
at home.
Yeah.
Playing together as usual.
Wow.
I like the idea. But I hope it's not a long-term solution.
True. So do you think that there will be a significant changing on the paradigm of people? Okay, let's narrow it only for art and culture. To rethinking about the activities, the business side, and many things else because of the situation. I mean, for the future, do you think it could happen?
I guess that anyway, it will be very, very hard for the movie theaters. They will not survive.
Can you elaborate more?
Because and the crisis now is just an acceleration of something who started before. Now the people before, for sure it's possible to watch movies online, but before it will, if you want to see a new movie which has just been released, you had to go to the movie theater to watch it, or you have to wait a few months before getting the DVD or watch it on internet. Now it's possible to watch it on internet from the beginning.
Okay.
So there is no need anymore to go to the movie theater to watch this movie. So for sure, most of people will not go.
Yeah, the behavior change because of maybe also insecurity feeling, like they don't want to be in the dark big room with other 200 people inside.
Maybe at the beginning, but I think it's habits, where you lose the habits to go, and so you don't go after.
But do you think it also could affecting the concert, let's say classical concert in this case?
I don't know, because it's it's very different in different countries. For example, when we were in Poland, a lot of young people going to the concerts, classical concerts. In France, the majority of the audience is quite old, and so we already have for a lot of years this question of how to make the people come to the concert, classical concert. And so I think that coronavirus or not, there will be less people in the future years inside the concert hall for classic concerts. But I'm sure that the people who very like it very much, who are in love with this kind of music, will go, because it's not the same kind of people, the same kind of feeling when you're face to face with the musician as at home.
And it's the live action, it's having a different mentality with the cinema.
Sure. Sure. And theater plays the same. Theater plays even more, because we can do perfect broadcast of theater plays with the camera, I don't know, 20 camera facing the actors and so on. But it's not the same to have people in front of you. So it may go quicker, that there is less audience in the venue, but I think it will still be some audience.
So a week ago, I saw this posting, an image in many social media. Someone made this poster like, now you can see the importance of art, culture, and sport. It's supposed to be like kind of a satirical joke during this lockdown. Yeah, like now you cannot say that art and culture is not important, because now everyone trying to consume that massively. So, do you think this belief about the importance of art and culture could also transform for larger belief after this pandemic?
But you are very optimistic to think that that people are more involved in arts and culture now.
That's the question. I mean, that's supposed to be the question.
No, I'm not so optimistic.
Mm-hmm. Why? I mean, can you elaborate more?
But now the situation is that the people spend more time on social networks, spend more time online. Yes, for sure, but it does not mean that the content is arts or culture. The 99% of the content is still shit. So no, I'm not so optimistic.
Yeah. So it means it's the challenge for the creative industry. I mean, art and culture industry as well is really huge ahead, because then I think also the changing of the mentality of people to put the primary needs in the at the first, since all the impact of the lockdown also hurting at most for the economic and social and also psychological of the individual.
I think that yes, a few of the people locked at home are in need. Yes, maybe more through children with you know, the need of book for children. Maybe more on that, because they need it because the children is bored and so on. But I'm not sure. Well, I'm quasi sure that after it will be a total mess. So again, culture won't be the important point, you know.
Okay, I will not say that a skeptic. I'm just saying that could be the like awareness, not skeptical. Just
we can hope. We can try to. We can hope. Yeah.
we can hope. We can hope something. Yes, we can hope something. So anyway, do you have any question about Indonesia? Do you have any news about Indonesia during this Corona things?
Absolutely not. The only news I receive from Indonesia is from you, personally. So no. To be honest, in French medias, we don't receive any news about what happens in Indonesia. I even don't know if your schools are closed or not, for example.
It is closed. It is closed. Approximately almost the same like when you start to close the school as well. With recently we got I don't know if other school, yeah, but my son's school we received another announcement. Now it's not clear when the school will be activated. It's supposed to be April 14th. But since the Jakarta governor just announced 2 days ago that tomorrow, Friday, it will be start the, again, it's not like, how to say, total lockdown, but really limiting the mobility of people reducing the number of public transportation. There will be police and maybe also military on the street to check, and more or less same like you. So we also don't know. So anyway, I forget to ask you one question regarding the activities of creative people on the streaming and many other forms, maybe in France. Here in Indonesia, we do a lot of activities for to gather money for the donation. I mean, the lack of the mask for the medical team on the field and things like that are also happen here in Indonesia. So people take initiative, not waiting from the government to collecting the money. Like the streaming that we are doing now is also part of the effort to gather the donation from public. So is it also happening in France that the group of artists or people in the art and culture do this? Like public donation, but managed by society.
There was huge collect of masks. For example, all the companies who had some masks for building house, for working in the countryside and so on, they gave all their masks to the state or the hospitals. But there's not really donation, money donation.
Ah, okay.
It's much more like participating. When you can, a lot of grandmothers are now doing the mask.
Yeah. It also happened in Indonesia. Yes.
Yeah.
I read a lot of news about group of people really taking initiative to make the mask and really give it for free to people.
We had also some calls from the countryside men who lack of people to collect the fruit. And so they said to the citizen, if you want and you have no job now, you are unemployed because of the coronavirus, you can come to collect with us, you know. But it's much more like that than giving money.
Okay. So for M-Block, they are working closely with kitabisa.com. This is a platform for this donation through the online. That's where the public can transfer the money by anyhow, and then M-Block will donate the money for the purpose of the medical team or for the artists who really on needs for the living and things like that. And also, I read a couple of days ago, the Ministry of Education and Culture is also doing the databasing, basically, you know, like spreading the form for anyone who are in the field of art and culture, who feel like affected by the situation, can register. We don't know yet how they are going to process, but at least this is the first step for them to know how exactly things are on the field for the art and culture workers. And I heard there are already like 4,000 something hundreds forms giving back. But this is what they need for now, like, because we are lack of data. We are difficult to justify to the Ministry of the work, and it's everyone homeworks now to think again about the importance of data, the importance of association and its roles. I mean, legally speaking, not only just form a group, but really register that to the state, so it can be a legal based organization. So then I also have to remind again for our audience in Bahasa Indonesia. Jadi teman-teman, program ini juga merupakan usaha dari M-Block bersama para partnernya untuk mengumpulkan donasi yang nantinya akan diberikan, didistribusikan bagi orang-orang yang memerlukan, seperti tim medis kita yang di lapangan yang sangat membutuhkan. Jumlah donasi sejauh ini adalah 7,6 juta, 7.682.376 rupiah. Semoga terus bertambah, semoga semakin banyak yang mau berbagi. Well, tidak harus uang tentunya, bisa dalam bentuk apapun. Saya juga harus menyebutkan terima kasih banyak untuk para partner Peruri, Kementerian Pendidikan dan Kebudayaan, Telkom Indonesia, MD Media, Mugos, kitabisa.com, Maxstream, UCTV, Omori TV, dan Desen Teknologi. Program ini akan terus berlanjut, teman-teman bisa selalu mengikuti program-program serupa di Instagramnya Mblog Space, melalui live Instagramnya, YouTube channel Budaya Saya, juga di Maxstream, Mugos TV, UCTV, dan Omori TV. Kami juga menyampaikan lagi rasa duka cita yang mendalam untuk Grand Fredly yang baru saja wafat sebagai salah satu dari inisiator pendiri dari Mblog Space. Kira-kira seperti itu. So I think we are on the brim of the end of our discussion. I mean, discussion with the audience. I mean, after this, I will call you by WhatsApp to continue. But again, thank you so much for your time and for all the very interesting information that you share with us tonight. I hope
we have a lot of time. We are locked.
Yeah, basically we have a lot of time actually. But we pretend that we have something to do. We have something else to do.
No, she does. I don't.
I can see from your face, David.
Before coronavirus, I was orang bule. Sekarang sudah menjadi merah hitam.
No, you are looks like poor Italian. So before I start to make another stupid joke that watched by other people online, so I guess I have to close this discussion exactly right on time by the schedule. Again, thank you for your time. Thank you for the willing to share with us all the story and the information. Another Dimas just wrote a message that he will cue the countdown after the closing. So we will wait the countdown. But again, I will say in bahasa Indonesia, terima kasih buat teman-teman yang sudah bergabung, yang sudah mau menyumbangkan bandwidth-nya untuk menyaksikan obrolan ini. Semoga kami bisa memberikan informasi yang berguna buat teman-teman. Dan untuk pertanyaan lebih lanjut yang mungkin tidak bisa disampaikan, bisa langsung disampaikan ke teman-teman Mblog atau melalui akun saya @anarkibumi di Instagram. Okay, well, I have to ask the team, is it okay to end the streaming, because this is the really the. Okay, salam aja langsung. Okay, fine. Okay, David and Sonia, again and again, thank you so much.
Thanks to you.
We will see again soon, very soon. I have.
Next time I come to Jakarta, I will come to Mblog.
Yes, you should. You should. They have a good bar named Uang. You will pay me drinks there.
I will.
Okay. So my kiss for Kamil also.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
My kiss for Raka.
Okay. Thank you.
See you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.